Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads out there? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Great.
I love it.
How
love
are
it.
you?
Love it when you're great. How am I?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing just fine.
Good.
Doing just well. Doing good. Doing great.
Which
doing
one
awesome.
is it?
All
of
of above. Doing all of the above. What do you expect? You know, when life brings you crab apples, you go for the top and try to grab a real apple, I guess, right? Is that how the line goes?
it? Sure. Not really, but okay.
It's just me throwing it out there. Hey, everybody out in the world. Hopefully you're doing great. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you listen to this show. We are going to smoke, and we're going to smoke some of the leftovers from the High Times Cannabis Cup. One of the strains I enjoyed that I actually rated probably the top was the Candy Store by Nature's Grace. So we're going to smoke that. Mrs. Weedman, grab that joint.
Yeah.
And we'll smoke, and we're going to talk
I like
a little.
this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. It was nice. Nice and mellow, chill, really relaxed and calming, and took all the anxieties and all the pain away and all the thoughts, all the negative thoughts. I really liked it. So, but we finished the High Times Cannabis Cup Challenge, or High Times Cannabis Cup for Illinois. Mrs. Weedman was just a little close not getting her shit done. Always saving it till the end.
I work best under pressure.
You do.
So if you give me a 2-week timeline, I'm going to be on like the eve of the 13th day cranking shit out. That's just how I work. That's how I work. So I had 3 vapes, 3 cartridges to judge on the last day. No, in the last 24 hours. So
Yes.
I was pretty high for about 24 hours. But I got it done. I said I would.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite out of the one we smoke every night is the Spectre one by Revolution.
That was my favorite.
That is the
was
5 to 1 to 5.
It was a VRSO, which was what, like a vape RSO?
I think so, yeah. But it was basically a 1 to 5, 1 CBD, 5
Yeah.
THC, and we smoked that up in bed every night. That thing was my favorite out of all the cards. That and the Sunshine OG.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 favorites. The Sunshine OG we smoked out of the Zenco every fucking time I walked past it. Basically, I smoked that thing, and then every night while we were in bed, just chilling, watching our shows, we would take a couple rips. We were already high, but that gave us a good like restful sleep. I really liked it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
My favorite strain, like I said, I think out of the top ones I rated the most was the Nature's Grace, the Revolution one, and there was one other. I think it was the Revolution, and then the Rhythm. I think Rhythm I gave a nice high one too. Though I will have to say this: I don't know if I'll ever do Illinois ever again. The experience was fine. The weed was there was some decent, there was some okays, there was some good. Nothing great. Nothing
Right.
that blew me away. Nothing that got anything higher than an 8. And you had to basically, rate like, what is it, 6 different things you had to kind of, they gave you the judge to rate, or 5 or something like that.
Yeah, let me just backtrack a little for anybody that maybe hasn't listened to recent episodes. Mr. Weedman and I both participated in the High Times Illinois Cannabis Cup as judges. So Mr. Weedman chose the medical flower, and
Yep.
I chose the medical vapes and cartridges. And Mr. Weedman had 12 different strains to smoke, brands and strains. And then I had 7 different cartridges to smoke. Mine were all different manufacturers. I think you might have had some duplicates.
There was a triple too.
Yeah. So we had until September 4th to smoke all of our product and then go on and judge. And so, yeah, it was, I think the most disappointing thing for me was the vape cartridges were basically mostly hybrids. Nothing was, well, one of them, the Skywalker Indica was a straight up strain.
Yeah.
The Sunshine OG was a straight strain, but a lot of them were hybrids and not very definitive about. I couldn't really say. I think that's why it took me so long to judge. I couldn't really get a good high. It requires a lot of
them was live resin too.
and they were resins, yeah. But I felt like you had to almost stack the doses. You almost had to you got a better high by having like a small hit off of the pen maybe every 15 minutes and built on that, and then in a half hour you're taking another hit, and then maybe another half hour you're taking another hit, and then maybe you're feeling something. But they were real subtle highs for I feel like all of them.
I didn't really get baked off. I mean, I was high, but I wasn't baked.
Yeah.
There was never one strain that got me to the point where I was like, okay, I'm good. Like I had to keep on smoking to feel anything and
definitely.
to keep the high going, to like the medicine to help me
Well, and I thought
like it was kind of disappointing in some ways because I had to smoke so much to get where I needed to be. And usually cartridges, when you're smoking vape cartridges, the THC content is 65 to 91%. We didn't have anything higher, I think, than 83.
Yeah.
But nothing that really got me there. Like when I
heavy
smoke,
hitters.
I want to smoke. I want to get there. And to get there took way too much and way too many times, and to even be disappointed because I never got there. And if you don't understand what I mean getting there, I mean like to the point where you're just feeling good. The medicine you're taking in makes you feel good.
Good.
And I wasn't at that point where I felt good on any of them. That was kind of a bummer on the
What
the
I
cartridge.
didn't like was that the packaging, as much packaging as there is, doesn't educate you. It looks pretty. It does the job of keeping the product away from small hands, but it's not useful. And it's just filling a landfill.
Too much making it look glamorous.
It's pretty, but there's no information. You need a microscope to look at what the sticker says for the THC, THCA.
Yeah, that shit's brutal.
You need a microphone to see any of that.
Microscope?
And then, one of those things.
One of those things.
Microscope. And then you go online and you try to get some data about the strain. Like, what should I be expecting here? I'm feeling this way. Is this accurate? And you can't find anything.
Nothing.
Like Leafly will have something, but it would
very little.
It would be about the strain, not about the actual product you have. So
and you
it's
go on their websites though too, and it was very little information.
even the manufacturer's website. Like some of them just list that they have flour, resin, wax, dabs, and nothing more. It's just like a landing page.
Right.
So that is frustrating because if you are using this as a medicine and you need some consistency in in your medication, and you're going from state to state, maybe because you live and work in different places, whatever, you're able to buy in different states, or maybe different parts of a state, and you're dealing with a different dispensary with different brands. You need to know that what you're getting is what you need. And if the information's not there, how do you ever figure that out?
Yeah,
And even as a recreational user, some people are like fine wine and craft beer. Like people have a palate and they have an expectation and they want to be knowledgeable about what they're putting in their body. So give us the information.
I miss the early medical days of cannabis in Illinois where you got treatment.
Yeah.
You got talked with. You found what you were looking for, and they dialed you in to specifics. Now the medical cannabis is right inside the recreational cannabis. It's all, you get put in a different line.
It's like going to the bank teller.
100%. You go right into a different line because it's supposed to be that way, and you get different pricing and different taxes and stuff like that. But you still don't get the service that should be when you're getting treated as a medical patient. Mm-hmm. Even with the medical High Times, you'd think you would have gotten more pamphlets and more information in that about each strain. You would think each cultivator would put a one-sheeter in about that strain. And not to lead you to lead your thinking on the taste and all that, but just information.
How about a stupid QR code?
Something.
On every product?
They're supposed to be.
Snap a picture of the QR code and you've got everything you need to know.
Supposed to be. They're supposed to
there.
be QR codes on.
Boom.
They don't do it though.
Did you hear me clap?
I heard you.
That was it. That's the answer. QR code that shit. I'm really high.
You are. We smoked my favorite out of all of them.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's just disappointing because I had to keep on. I'm not a very good writer. I get my thoughts out and talk, but I don't write very well. Like, so when I had to go in and do all this writing, it took me a little bit longer on the rating of everything because I had to really like write stuff. Like, if they asked me for a voice recorder, I would nail it.
I would
every
say
time.
some of my reviews were a little lazy. And some of them were really good. But hey, that may have had to do with the strain too, because I was typically doing my judging when I was consuming.
Yeah, me too.
And so sometimes I was like, oh, they're gonna put this one on their packaging.
Yeah.
This is I got some good words here. And
There
then
were-
other times I was like, oh gosh,
There were some I had to go on.
I like it, period.
Basically, I was kind of the same way. I had to go on though online and look up certain words that I wanted to use in a sentence. Just me,
That's all right.
you know, and to describe stuff. And I put some thought in a lot of them. A few of them I didn't because I didn't like. They were just meh, you know. And that's basically the rating I gave them. Meh. And with the stuff I liked, I put some really good heavy ratings, and I gave everybody the numeral ratings. I gave that to the T of what I thought each one was: tastes, smoke. Most of them actually, I would say, smoked smooth. There wasn't a rough smoke out of any of them. Like it didn't like none of them really burnt my throat. They were all cured okay, or some better than others. So, just my honest opinion, they all the smoke smooth. They all smoked pretty decent. So
You can't find your words either.
no, not right now.
I just had something to say.
So
Damn it.
got something to say.
I had something.
Yeah,
I lost
it's
it.
better to burn out than fade away.
I forgot.
You know my Def Leppard, do you?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
All right. You ready to start the show then?
I think we should start the show. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Cannabis and its terpenes. I've talked about a lot of the different terpenes, and this is humelene. And humelene actually also comes from hops, which is beer. You need hops to make beer. You need terpenes to have a very good cannabis experience, and humelene is one of them. So don't forget that cannabis and hops are cousins, distant, but they share a terpene together. Probably a few others too, but that's the main one. So humelene is a terpene that's pretty popular already. You may not know this, but you're tasting humelene whenever you drink a beer. This is because this amazing terpene is responsible for the earthy and spicy notes that makes beer so delicious. All varieties of beer have distinct hoppy fragrance that comes from the hops plant. I've studied hops for years. You can ask Mrs Weedman. I knew everything about and anything about hops. I'm not going to talk about it, though, because I don't sell hops no more. So, also found in a few spices, including ginger, herbs like sage, humelene is a powerhouse filled with medical qualities. Thanks to its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory benefits, there's a lot of humelene can do. It's also found in many cannabis strains. So put your hands together for humelene. You gonna put your hands together again? There we go. The wonderful terpene that makes buds and beer taste wonderful. What are terpenes? We all know what terpenes are. You can listen to some of our prior episodes, but just always remember there's always 100 to 200 different terpenes in some strains. I mean, there's tons and tons of terpenes out there that they're finding. So the more we can do research, the more terpenes we're going to get. Don't forget some of the ones we've talked about. There's caripholine, there's limonene, there's eucalyptol, alpha A pinene, B pinene, there's linalool, there's myrcene. There's so many, and it just goes on. And they say that terpenes have a good effect to what they call the all hands on deck entourage effect that still people kind of don't think it's real, think it's real. People, it's a big talk when it comes to cannabis, and is it the entourage effect truly, is it there? I believe in it. Everything I've read, and I've read the people that don't believe in it either. But the stuff that I read, I think the entourage effect exerts power, like you're winding up a lawnmower, vroom, vroom, or a chainsaw, and what it's doing is it just exerts the power in the endocannabinoid system. You get that,
Power.
vroom, vroom, and it revs you up, gets you going, like I am right now.
Like the little girl on the Great British Baking Show, Junior Bake Off.
Oh, that's a good one.
She's like,
we're watching that right now.
What is it called when you're the special cook? You're the special chef. For
Star Baker.
She goes, Star Baker
Power. If you haven't watched, this is the
super
newest
cute.
one that we haven't seen yet is the Junior Bake Off on the Great British Baking Shows, because there's no new episodes on the regular, and it's actually really cute. It's
Yeah.
different host and different
So
comedian.
she puts her pointer finger and her thumb
Yeah.
in like an L shape, and she takes one hand and kind of slams it on her
Yeah.
chest and goes Star, and then the other hand
Baker.
and then puts them together like
Together.
a cube
Yeah.
or like a diamond.
Like she's shooting it
Power.
out, and she did win that day when
And
first
she
time
won.
she did it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, she's so cute.
So what is humelene? Also recognized Humelene is a terpene that produces spicy and woody notes. The earthly notes are very evident when you drink a glass of beer. Also present in basil, or basil, however you call it, black pepper, ginseng, coriander, marsh elders, tobacco, clove, and many other herbs and spices. Humelene is also used for its tropical properties. For instance, ginseng is used for a variety of ailments, which means that humelene is also used indirectly to treat several issues. Thanks to ancient medicinal practices by the Chinese and scholars in India, the effects of humelene have been long recognized. It may be something new for you, but humelene's healing powers have been a topic of discussion for many centuries. Present in most essential oils in small and large quantities, depending on the plant species, humelene is used even in aromatherapy. These therapeutic essential oils are used mainly to reduce chronic pain. So what are some of the benefits? Appetite suppressant. Maybe that's why I never ate. I was never hungry because I drank a lot of beer, and I worked for a beer company and sold beer for 12 years. I drank a lot of beer, and everyone's like, "How come you never eat?" 'Cause maybe that was the reason why. Yeah. I mean, you're having 3 or 4 beers a night. You would think you'd be hungry. I was, and plus I smoked weed too, so weed doesn't make me hungry either. And maybe the strains I smoke have humelene in it. So, appetite suppressant. Humelene has many benefits, and patients relying on cannabis to help with their ailments understand this better. First off, it works to suppress appetite. What does that do? Well, it helps those with obesity resist food and lose weight. By suppressing any activity in the body's satiety pathways, it reduces your desire to eat. Many natural supplements contain humelene as an active ingredient because it works to help cut down the extra weight. Kind of works in similar to the cannabinoid THCV, which we've talked about on the prior episode. So most people think that all types of cannabis strains make you hungry, but that's not true. Some strains will actually reduce your sudden urge to gulp everything in front of you. It's also antifungal and antibacterial properties. Humelene works actively to fight against Staphylococcus aureolus. Oh, Staphylococcus.
Get out.
Bacteria, according to this study. Apart from this study, there are many more that depict the usefulness of humelene and treat many ailments. Anti-inflammatory properties. Scientists have conducted quite a few studies to understand the importance of humelene as an anti-inflammatory agent. In 2007, a study found that carfolium along with humelene displayed properties that were considered anti-inflammatory. And they did some more research in 2008 and 2009 on this. Pretty good. In other words, humelene can be used as an anti-inflammatory agent. Of course, a lot more studies are needed from physicians to prescribe cannabis strains containing humelene, but such studies give us a lot of hope. We'll post this too. There's a common cannabis terpenes on here and what the smell is to what it helps with in ailments too. So we'll make sure we post it for you. So what cannabis strains contain humelene? Humelene is found in large quantities in all Kush strains. That's why we like the Kush, yo. Kush. Give me that Kush. West Coast, White Widow, Girl Scout cookies, Gorilla Glue, cream cookies, gelato, auto flowers. These all have high humelene in it. You were going to say something?
The one I like. What is it? Like AJ13 or something?
What?
The Kush.
The XJ13?
XJ13.
Yeah, you like that one. But you also like Bubba Kush. You like kosher Kush.
Yeah.
You anything that has a Kush at the end of it?
It's good.
It's good for you. In order to gain the benefits of humelene, you could simply smoke a strain containing the terpene, or you can just use an essential oil. Pretty good, right? I mean, that's healthy right there, humelene. Appetite suppressant. Mix that with a little THCV, and you're going to not want to go to the refrigerator. I don't. I don't get the munchies at all. So.
No, I do. A little too much.
We've made some tinctures before.
We have. And
we've made them with Everclear, and they were strong. But Mrs. Weedman is going to tell you how to make some tinctures from cannabis stems.
Yep.
More. No waste. Today's No Waste Wednesday.
Don't waste anything.
Don't waste anything from that plant.
How to make cannabis tinctures from marijuana stems. So this will be definitely one of the articles. Every week I post 4 links to the articles that we read, and this will be one of them because there's some recipes in here and then some suggestions for different like little tincture concoctions. So one of the best things I have ever incorporated into my cannabis smoking was harvesting the stems and excess leaf and putting it into a jar filled with 100 proof alcohol. Every time I break up a bud, I toss the excess into the jar, give it a shake, and place it back into the dark closet in my kitchen. But why do all of this at all? This stem-infused tincture is filled with cannabinoids. It's an alcohol-based tincture, meaning it helps disinfect and clean out wounds, bites, and scratches. When you combine it with cannabinoids you're extracting from the leaf and stem, you're adding medical properties to the mix. Here's a short list of some of the medical properties you add to the tincture. Anti-inflammatory properties, antiviral properties, antibacterial properties, anti-anxiety, and anti-tumor effect. With the information in this article, you will be able to not only create a classic cannabis tincture, such as the Green Dragon, but you will also learn how to infuse other essential oils into the tincture to make a holistic effectiveness and bring it to a whole new level.
I love it. We're going to have a lot of stems coming soon, so from this next grow.
So keep this in mind. There are edible and there are non-edible tinctures. I think it's important to mention that there are two main types of tinctures available, those that can be ingested and those that cannot. The Green Dragon is an edible tincture since it uses a high-grain alcohol such as 100 proof vodka or any other consumable alcohol with a high proof rating, preferably 90 proof or higher. Here's the recipe for the basic Green Dragon, also an alternative method. So you're just grinding up your herbs or collecting, trim and scraps and things. And you don't have to grind up your stems, but you can even put your stems in there. And then you want to decarboxylate it. After you decarb it, then you're adding some alcohol to it. And then you're putting it in a jar and you're shaking it up and you're putting it away for 2 to 3 weeks. 1 week, you can get a lot of cannabinoids into the tincture, but 2 to 3 is better. You're moving it around daily. And then you have to strain it, possibly strain it a second time to just get the pure tincture out. You transfer that clear liquid into another sealable jar, and you're ready. And if you are creating a topical only, you would not use a consumable alcohol. You would use a high-proof surgical alcohol, and apparently that's easy to find. And then you would follow the same steps. The tincturing process is virtually the same for all herbs and plants, and I would recommend creating specific jars for each extraction. So they went on to saying, like, you could do this with basil, cilantro, parsley, oregano.
That's cool.
Yeah, you could do it with anything. Orange peels, citrus.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, look at them getting freaky.
Yeah. So you just make essential oils, essentially. That way you can.
So
mix.
with the essential oils that you're making, could you put that in an atomizer, one of those atomizer things? Then,
Sure.
that'd be kind of dope.
That would be really nice. Hey,
That'd be sweet.
That would be sweet. That way, well, no, because you would have the alcohol. The cannabis tincture is alcohol based. The essential oils create an oil.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's still an alcohol. Oh, I'm so
Did I
confused.
confuse you?
Just confused me.
I'm sorry.
We're talking about tinctures,
I know.
not oils.
I gotcha.
Okay. All right. That way, you can mix and match different oils, but now they're talking about it as oil. I think they're talking about essential oils and tinctures. They're two different things, but you can mix them to create a concoction.
Poof.
Yeah. Recipes for different tincture mixtures will, again, be on the link. If you're going to do extracts, make sure that you do it right for each plant you're extracting. For example, making an extract from orange peel follows this exact same protocol as making Green Dragon infusion, using high-proof alcohol and a jar. However, the time of infusion is different. When you're extracting the essential oils from a peel, it takes between 1 to 2 months versus weeks. I highly recommend that you keep good records when you start infusing and also do a mass infusion in a single day. Get as many of the ingredients you can and try to do as many infusions as you can. It's worth your time to spend an entire weekend infusing and creating your tincture system than it is to do it over time. Fellow cannabis enthusiasts, this is almost as addictive as growing your own weed. When you master advanced tincturing, you'll open up a whole new world of possibilities for yourself. Great things to use are lavender. It's all-purpose. It's an all-purpose extract with calming properties, releasing muscle tension and clearing the mind of mental fog. It can be extracted in similar fashion as the Green Dragon and that process. Orange, you'll want to start your orange extraction sooner than later because you're going to extract oils from the peel themselves, and it takes a long time. Just smelling this tincture will make the nervous system get a jolt of energy. Lime, similar to the orange extract, lime is an upper and can help you clear up mental fog, boost your energy level, and just perk up your day. Basil, it's another super plant food that you'll want to add to your garden with its many medical benefits. There's 2 ways to extract oils from basil, the extraction method or the infusion method. Green Dragon is an infusion method. Mark my words, there's a rabbit hole, but it does have a lot of return for investment. Yes, it takes time, it takes some dedication, but once you have your potions on hand, they can play a big part in balancing your emotional and physical well-being, and you're going to thank yourself for sticking with the discipline. Of course, if you don't have patience, you can just go ahead and buy essential oils, but that could turn out to be expensive.
I like it because we're going to have this grow, the 2 plants I have in the hopper right now, we're going to have a lot of stems.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this grow. We're going to make some cool stuff, all the stuff we've been reading. We got time winners coming, so
Might as well. Might as well do something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiment. Trichomes, more about trichomes and how they make terpenes and cannabinoids in a supercell pathway. Some new research that I've been reading about. It's kind of cool. Study from the University of British Columbia froze trichomes with liquid nitrogen. Researchers peered into the cryofixated purple kush cells, there it is, the kush, with the electron microscope using modern techniques. They found new keys that better explain how trichomes make non-polar terpenes and cannabinoids without destroying plant cells. Cannabis plants produce acidic cannabinoids such as THCA and CBDA. Acidic cannabinoids contain a little extra molecule of carboxylic acid, COOH, and trichomes are supercellular lipid factories found on the outside of the cannabis buds. However, specific highways and traffic lights along synthesis pathways inside the trichome remained hidden. Trichomes and electron microscopy. Sam Livingston, holding PhD in botany and plant biology, is a postdoc researcher with Professor Lacey Samuels in Keeling Labs at UBC. Professor John Page in UBC and Dida Labs co-authored the recent trichome study. Lastly, Kim Resing, PhD, also collaborated on the project, and phone calls with the author Sam described the importance of the discovery. Has in 2 worlds of cannabinoid production, botany and biosynthesis. Ooh, science. Chemically fixated cells. Modern harsh producers can combine beautiful macro photography with lab tests to confirm the abundance of cannabinoid acids and terpenes in capitate stalk trichomes, but scientists have been studying trichomes since the 1800s. Sir Alexander Christian of Edinburgh and George Martius of Germany noted that soil nutrients affect cannabis resin producing glands in 1851 and 1855, respectively. A century later, Dr. J. Bouquet studied the glandular cells under a microscope of the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime. Research in the 1970s began to incorporate chemical fixation with traditional electron microscopy to analyze trichomes, but limitations stunt the traditional method of picking cells in the aldehydes and the acids. So viewing trichomes like never before. 2 photon imaging scans of trichomes by Livingston in 2021. The picture is amazing. You'll see. We'll post it on the site so you can look at it. Better techniques now published in Current Biology help discover routes that non-polar metabolites take through the trichome cellular landscape before turning into CBGA and eventually THCA or CBDA. Always remember, CBG starts first, A starts first, and then it goes into THCA and CBDA. Sam and his peers use liquid nitrogen to preserve the trichomes and freeze the entire cellular complex. Sam stated their study purposes a new model, easily controlled in experiments, explains how trichomes produce acidic cannabinoids and monoterpenes. Importantly, their modular use of cellular context rather than a petri dish. That's pretty cool. Trichomes, not so compartmentalized. Cannabis trichomes depend on transportation within the supercell structure to make cannabinoids and terpenes. Production starts with CBGA, a polarized cell membrane that ends with THCA outside the cell wall in a storage cavity. Moreover, Sam's team discovered large porous bridges in the cannabis cells that whole systems pass through, which is botanically unique. That's pretty cool. What is the physiological role that these bridges are playing? According to Sam, the trichomes, many components from the physical structure to the internal transportation system prevent autotoxicity. And while toxic effects are averted this way, internal mechanisms excluded by the team are takeaways from the study. Companies can easily hack transporters within the yeast cells designed for cannabinoid production. Otherwise, understanding the plant will help growers dump more acidic cannabinoids and terpenes from cannabis trichomes. So don't forget, we had somebody on that talked about that they have a system that they can take yeast and make any cannabinoid they want with a special yeast, water, and sugar. So they're finding that it was biomedican. So don't forget, they can hack stuff now, and certain yeast cells can help you design. It's kind of fucking crazy still. I still want to see this process, but they're finding it out in more studies. So cannabis in the classrooms. I would have loved to smoke a joint in the middle of class and would have probably made me pay attention better.
Right? I think I would have too. Cannabis in classrooms, the conflicting views on cannabis consumption on school grounds, the conversation about weed on college and high school campuses. Cannabis laws continue to create all sorts of challenges, especially as more states legalize recreational and medical cannabis, while the federal government maintains it as a Schedule I illegal substance. State laws regarding purchasing and growing weed can be tricky, and cannabis in the workplace is a unique challenge for many employers. Even classrooms, both high school and college, are faced with new challenges as their federal and state governments continue to have conflicting views on cannabis consumption on school grounds. Weed on college campus has a long illegal history. Think back to the late 1960s, and one of the first images that will likely pop into your head is a group of long-haired, free-loving college students smoking joints on some academic lawn, holding a peace or protest sign. Today, however, there is less peace and love in regard to cannabis policy on college campuses. Instead, there seems to be strict policies led by fear. Most colleges, even those in states where weed is legal on medical and recreational levels, completely ban the possession and use of cannabis on college campuses. The main reason for this collegiate prohibition is because there's a great deal of federal money tied into most collegiate-level universities. Colleges and universities who accept these federal funds must remain compliant with the Drug-Free Schools and Communities Act, which means that use and or possession of cannabis in any form or possession of any paraphernalia will not be tolerated on campus, according to Campus and Drug Prevention, a DEA website. Not all colleges get large sums of money directly from the government, but federal funding is tied to all sorts of programs, grants, and loans. This may even have privately run institutions thinking twice before making their cannabis policies more lenient. I think schools are just worried about rocking the boat and jeopardizing that funding. Robert Mikos, professor of law at Vanderbilt University Law School, told Forbes. The article went further to show the unfortunate outcome for medical cannabis users that this reality has forced. It puts universities in this awful position of, I'm breaking the law unless I yank the medicine out of the hands of these ill students, said Peter Grinspoon, who is a physician and board member at Doctors for Cannabis Regulation. It also shows how federal illegal
Spell it out, Mrs Weedman.
Illegality. Federal illegality, oh, forget it, puts these institutions that want to do the best for their students in these impossible positions. Some students are fighting back against these anti-medical marijuana rules at universities. In states where medical marijuana is legal, students disciplined for using it are taking their schools to court, according to USA Today. Students cite discrimination in their lawsuits. These issues will likely only continue to arise as the nation grows more accepting of cannabis use and the government maintains its Schedule I status of the drug. There's even legislation and conversation about cannabis in high school classrooms in states where cannabis is legal. Rhode Island is the most recent state to legalize recreational cannabis. This legalization may have loosened laws, but it also prompted a demand for policy when it comes to administering medical cannabis in schools. School districts in Rhode Island must develop protocols to administer medical cannabis to students with a demonstrated medical condition under a new state regulation, according to the Providence Journal. Colorado also allows medical marijuana to be administered by school nurses and has even passed legislation that details how and when this can occur. While there are many rules and stipulations, this policy is actually progressive, seeing how many states completely ban the use of medical marijuana in schools. The act provides school personnel protection from criminal prosecution if he or she possesses and administers medical marijuana to a student at school, according to a summary of the bill from the Colored General Assembly. Laws like these show progress, but the progress has been slow as most educational bodies will continue to fear the fallout that accompanies going against federal policy. As with many other state laws, those concerning cannabis and the classroom are likely to sit in purgatory while the federal government waits to make a move on weed. I guess I didn't think about it. I mean, I did think about it, but...
Smoking in the boys' room,
crazy.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
The pharmaceutical industry is suffering billions in losses after each state legalizes cannabis. And this is a study. This is all over the internet right now. I've been reading different articles for like the last week. It's been great. The average loss is nearly about $10 billion for drug makers per each legalization event, according to first of its kind studies. They studied 556 pharmaceutical companies from 1996 to 2019, as analyzing market trends. And after each enactment of a medical or adult use cannabis legalization, the laws of that state level, the stock returns were only like 1.5 to 2% lower at 10 days after legalization. The study authors found returns decreased in response to both medical and recreational legalization for both generic and drug makers. Anticipate a single legalization event to reduce their annual sales by $3 billion on average. That's awesome. That is, you know what? I was thinking about this a lot. Everything I'm reading about what's going on with the drug companies. First and foremost, they're probably the ones that hid all the research and data on cannabis, paid government officials to hide all the data, keep these laws in effect for longer and longer and longer. I mean, they're losing $3 billion every time a market opens up. $10 billion like it's nothing. That's a lot of money. So, but I don't care. It's even better. Go for cannabis. Illinois adult use cannabis sales slipped about 4.6% in August to 129.4 million. Still a lot, but we all know August slows down a little bit. People are going back to school. First tuition's got to get paid. Those books, everything's going to be, getting the your house is done for school if you're moving into a house or a dorm. Cannabis sales, all sales go down the last like 3 weeks of August, 2 weeks of August, and then you get a little smidge of a hit for Labor Day, and then everything slows down in September because everyone's full force back into like work mode. Summer's over, no one's out partying, so you're gonna see it. Always happens, always, especially here in the Midwest. So don't panic though. Still 129 million is pretty damn good. Here's a crazy thing. What if, Mrs. Weedman, what if you were a security guard at a dispensary here in Illinois and someone came and tried to hack you with an axe? What would you do?
Happened.
I know it happened. What would you do?
If I would become a ninja. I would take that person down.
It's fucked up, man.
Kick that knife out of their hand.
A dude at a dispensary in Greektown here in Chicago, man. This dude came up with an axe and he went after a Chicago pot shop security guard and got him in the leg, and the pot shop cop shot him and killed him. Crazy, dang. Man. You're getting fucking axe murdered just working at a dispensary. That's no bueno.
That's crazy.
That is no
Poor
bueno.
guy's dead too now.
The guy with the axe is dead. The pot shop. He survived. He's got a gash in his leg.
Pot shop
Cop. Thank you. Michigan police say faulty cannabis tests could impact more than 3,250 cases. So all the tests, they were testing people and trying to get them on cannabis. They're saying that those tests are garbage, that they really didn't work. How fucked up if like you're stuck in jail at one of those 3,200 cases and you're actually in jail and faulty cannabis tests that never truly actually worked. Gosh, the lawsuits that are going to happen in Michigan is going to be incredible if that's true. California passes bill to protect workers who smoke pot off the clock. The crazy thing about this to me is it took them like the 9th state to do that. You'd think there would be like top 3. What's wrong with you? You've had medical cannabis since 1996. It doesn't make any sense. Minnesota voters should decide on cannabis legalization at ballot. Republican nominee for governor says. Of course he's going to say that. He wants to get voted in. So why not say something cool like that? You should just make it happen then. Get it on the ballot. So Missouri activists form campaign to oppose cannabis ballot initiative. Urge governor to put reform on special session agenda. Man, Missouri, man, you guys got fight on your hands, cannabis, man. Get it done. U.S. Air Force and Space Force reviewing common sense cannabis drug testing policy change for recruits. Yeah, you shouldn't test at all if, when they're off the clock not working, man. Let them just smoke weed to help them with I don't care if you're in the Air Force or not. Most military men come out little PTSD. So cannabis could help. Here's something I never thought about, because I came from the restaurant bar industry and you had to have kosher things on the menu. A lot of stuff people ask, is your food kosher? Is weed kosher? Should it be?
I never thought about it.
Neither did I.
When it comes to cannabis and whether or not it should be permitted, the discussion is mainly centered on the federal government and its legalization of the substance. In actuality, there are many laws, practices, and even dietary restrictions. Take the Jewish religion and its concept and practice of traditional law and kosher guidelines, for example. In order for a food product to get the familiar kosher label we see on all sorts of products, it must be, by Merriam-Webster's definition, sanctioned by and ritually fit according to Jewish law. When most non-kosher individuals think of kosher, they likely know that pork, shellfish, and the mix of meat and dairy are all non-kosher. But in reality, kosher goes deeper than this. Certifying food as kosher goes so far as to examine the equipment used to prepare items, all the way to inspecting for possible remnants that can be found in the food items themselves. With these strict guidelines, one has to wonder if cannabis is considered kosher. Insects can cause all sorts of issues with cannabis. They can even kill a plant. One problem caused by insects that is lesser known is that they can render cannabis non-kosher. This is because, according to the Torah, Leviticus 11, verse 42, all the things that swarm upon the earth are an abomination. They shall not be eaten. This translates to insects not being kosher when eaten. Sure, insects are not on most food menus, but unprocessed cannabis might have bugs inside the buds and elsewhere. Also, unless factories that produce edibles are inspected for these types of issues, it's difficult to put a kosher stamp of approval on them. One way around this is to smoke. Rather than eat cannabis that is not stamped with a kosher or insect-free certification, just smoke it. Since the kosher law refers to eating and consumption in that regard, it is safe to burn them up. Just don't digest them. Some brands have begun to kosher certify their cannabis products. This is a way to put the Jewish community at ease when consuming edibles, which are widely popular in both recreational and medical circles. One of the key elements of certifying a product as kosher is confirmation of practices. In other words, you need to enlist an impartial and observant set of eyes to inspect and confirm clean and thorough production practices. This is critical, as it means a kosher stamp not only confirms a product is safe for the kosher practicing individual to consume, but it also puts people on their strict diets like vegans, halal, and others at ease, confirming that there is a third party verifying factory practices, allowing all sorts of strict dieters to know the label information is accurate. Joe Hodis, the chief marketing officer of Wana Brands, a cannabis company that produces kosher products, told Forbes that the kosher certification indicates to the consumer that the products are made in a clean and reliable environment. And because many certifications, such as USDA Organic, are unavailable for cannabis products and facilities, kosher certification illustrates that the care that Wana takes to provide premium products to its customers, according to the article. This shows that taking the steps to make weed products kosher actually opens your product up to all sorts of dietary restricted individuals. One last important factor to consider in regard to cannabis being kosher concerns the law. Part of Jewish law requires that its followers also follow all the civil laws where they reside, as long as they don't contradict the laws of the religion. Therefore, in addition to whatever Judaism says about cannabis, Jewish law demands an obedience to the authority of civil law. If it's illegal to possess or use cannabis, it's also against Jewish law. So make sure
Ooh,
you are...
that's confusing because
Isn't
in
it?
states it's
Right.
could be, but it's still federally illegal. So what do you follow?
I don't know.
Ooh,
I would say...
bump, the plot thickens.
So make sure you are not breaking the American law when you use cannabis, or you may also be breaking the Jewish law. When it comes down to it, as long as cannabis is in its pure form and free of bugs, it should be safe to consume if you are kosher, according to the Jewish Virtual Library. If we would know that the product in question contains just leaves and that there was no unkosher residue on the processing equipment, it would not need certification, like plain unflavored tea. So while most of the weed you smoke and consume will likely be kosher, when you see a kosher label on one of your cannabis products, you can be rest assured that an extra set of eyes has certified your product as clean and properly made.
Hell
I didn't
yeah.
realize that. I mean, that's kind of ideal. Then you almost want to look for kosher products because you know they're clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they always look kosher. I'm kosher. Are you kosher?
probably not.
You're saying you're not clean
Well, I'm clean, but I might break some rules
here or there.
here or there.
You've always been a rule breaker, Mrs. Weedman.
I'm a rebel.
International news. Panama regulates the medicinal use of cannabis. Good for Panama. That's awesome. Panama holds the potential of becoming a cannabis hub given its climate, investment-friendly governance framework, and strategic location with large port infrastructure and well-sedimented trade routes. The country is currently hosting. The presidential decree creates a regulatory framework that allows the use of monitored controlled access to medical cannabis. Hell yeah. We're going to Panama one day and going to smoke some weed. He signed the second decree, creates a national directorate for monitoring the administrative and operational activities required to implementation. I butchered that word. DIRECTORATE.
Dictatorship?
No, that's not it.
What'd you say?
Nothing. I spelled it out. It's good. All I know is Panama's going med. So good for you.
I
Now
can't
let's
see
go.
so good.
Now let's go. let's go. let's go. Let's go rec. Recreational cannabis offers a world of opportunities in tourism, employment, investment, and health for Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, decriminalizes recreational cannabis will have access to a new world of benefits and opportunities for the country, according to businessmen and experts consulted by La Repubblica. More tourists, a new source of income for the state, greater foreign investment, and generations of new jobs for some of the positive elements that would emerge from this criminal law reform. Likewise, medicines with high concentrations of THC would be available to countless patients with disease such as cancer, lupus, arthritis, and other ailments. Hell yeah. This is good stuff. Good for you, Costa Rica. We want to go there one day. At this time, Costa Rica only decriminalizes personal consumption, while the sale and cultivation is considered a criminal offense that is punishable by imprisonment. So for right now, just can just grow your own and just give it to people. And one day you can make money off of it. Perfect your craft and let people understand what you're growing and teach them about it. And then they like it. Then when you can start selling it, people are going to come to you because they like your weed already. That's the way I look at it. Right?
Yeah.
Are you able to see yet?
I'm trying.
All right. Well, you're next.
Okay.
Cannabis and sex.
Yep.
How is it?
Yep. Okay, here we go. The science behind why stoned sex is good sex. Well, whether you've already experienced the joy of stoned sex or are curious about using cannabis to amplify and diversify your sex life, the good news is that your body is ready. Cannabinoids can enhance sex because the human body makes its own cannabinoids, called endocannabinoids, explains Dr. Karen Elber, Associate Professor of Urology and Obstetrics and Gynecology at Cedars-Sinai and co-founder of Glissant Intimate Wellness. The endocannabinoid system is a cellular signaling system involved in multiple processes that help the body maintain homeostasis, pain, mood, stress, reproductive function, inflammation, and immune function. And that's just the beginning. When used responsibly, there is research supporting the mental, physical, and emotional benefits of cannabis. Let's discuss the science of each and how to integrate it into your sex life. As sex therapists love to say, your biggest sex organ is your brain. So let's kick this off by discussing the cerebral effects of cannabis on sex. First off, yes, the rumors are true. Cannabis can lower your inhibitions. But before we move on to the fun stuff, let's get the warnings out of the way. At the end of the day, the THC in cannabis is psychoactive and considered an intoxicant, meaning it can inhibit someone's ability to consent to sex properly, says Kiana Reeves, chief brand educator at the cannabis and sexual wellness company Foria. It's always important to communicate with your partner and postpone sex until you are both certain that you are both in the mental space to provide informed consent. So, start low, go slow, disclose to your partner how high you are, and ask them the same. Of course, it's wise to continue to check in throughout sex, but generally speaking, stoned sex with someone you trust is much safer than sex while drunk or on other substances. Stoned sex means communication. However, it also means that not only are you more likely to come up with a new idea in bed, but you're more likely to ask to try it, in addition to any other fantasies or desires, thanks to responsibly lowered inhibitions. Research suggests that THC can enhance creativity too. This happens through divergent thinking, which is the process of connecting seemingly unrelated ideas. One only has to look at the vast number of musicians and artists, from Snoop Dogg to Willie Nelson, who use cannabis to see the connection to creativity. However, there's one catch. Dosage is key. With a small amount of THC, it increases your divergent thinking. Too much can impair creativity, though, so always start low and go slow. You may not be aware of how crucial creativity is to sex. It allows for more spontaneity, which is helpful, as diversity is essential to sexual attraction and satisfaction. However, you can still be monogamous and enjoy variety through kink, role-playing, bringing in sex toys, and even sharing a joint beforehand. And when used responsibly, cannabis can help you come up with these new and exciting ideas.
I like this article.
If you're excited about the cerebral effects of cannabis on sex, just wait until you hear about the physical benefits. CBD and THC are known as vasodilators, meaning they support and enhance blood flow, Reeves says. In the genitals, the process of arousal is a process of blood moving into the genitals. So supporting arousal with cannabinoids can greatly impact the level of arousal a person is experiencing. Heightened arousal is associated with increased access to orgasm and increased experience of sexual pleasure. If you're worried about erectile dysfunction, which plenty of drugs and medicines can affect, according to Harvard cannabis specialist Jordan Tischler, cannabis generally does not help with ED in males, but if used sparingly, does not worsen ED. He adds that if overused, it can definitely worsen ED. So once again, start low, go slow. A few puffs on a joint or vape, or a starting dose of 2.5 or 5 milligrams of an edible is generally considered a safe starting point. When playing responsibly, there's lots of pleasure to look forward to. Cannabis can increase the frequency and intensity of orgasms in all genders, and in males can help prolong sexual activity, Tischler says. Perhaps most importantly, it can increase the release of oxytocin, leading to a greater sense of intimacy and satisfaction.
Not oxykitten.
Meow.
Meow.
Additionally, cannabis enhances all of the 5 senses. The plant heightens touch, making skin-to-skin contact even more sensual and intimate. Use your stoned superpower sense of smell to take it all in. And the same goes for taste. Enjoy sexual tastes and smells. It's normal and healthy to do. Pay attention to the sounds of your partner's voice, or even consider putting on mood music. Enjoy the sight of your partner, and don't be afraid to close your eyes and enjoy a kaleidoscope of stoned imagery. Sex is all about the senses, and one of the great benefits of cannabis is that it can help heighten your own experience of your senses so that you feel fully immersed and available to them, Reeves adds. By now, you've probably heard of cannabis topicals, or for the intentions of this article, lubes and suppositories. This may not be the most effective method.
Alabama's favorite.
It may not be the most effective cannabis delivery, though. If you want to feel euphoric, you're better off with inhalation or ingestion. THC-infused topicals can provide pain relief and relaxation, though. Emotionally, cannabis can help you bond with your partner, ideally through mindfulness or the act of putting away intrusive thoughts and living in the moment. We know that cannabis helps to relax and calm centers of the mind that tend to be hypervigilant or make it hard to relax and be present, Reeves says. Cannabis is known to help us come into our full experience, and many cannabis users report experiencing their sensations in a heightened way, where every touch or kiss feels more full and alive. Perhaps some of that feeling more alive is because, in addition to enhancing the senses, research shows that cannabis can reduce negative bias, helping you see the glass half full rather than half empty. This means that you're more likely to see the best in your partner. And while you're at it, don't be afraid to use your lowered inhibitions to communicate how much your partner means to you. Remember, long-term and monogamous relationships do not own intimacy. You can experience all the benefits of stone sex, including feeling happy and close with your partner, whether a spouse, a fling, or a new relationship. Just always remember to consume responsibly and enjoy yourself.
Sex and weed.
Cute.
Weed and sex.
Sexy, sexy.
We like Mac Miller.
Yeah, we do.
He passed away. But I didn't know this. And actually, O-Dog, our daughter, didn't know this. I forgot to ask Paulie when we were talking to him on the phone. But he had 8 songs that were released by his family back in July. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that at all. Kind of bummed. I didn't know that because I'd been listening to it all summer. So, but a lot of these have to do with his old school style of rap and hip hop when he first started. And I'm looking forward to listening to all 8. One's called The Scoop of Heaven. Another one's called Cold Feet. I Love Life, Thank You. Boom Bap Rap. All This. The Miller Family Reunion. Love Lost. Family First. And I from what I read, that these are all great songs to listen to while you're smoking and while you're baked. It puts you in a really, I guess, in a good place. So I bummed that we never got to see Mac Miller. The year he passed away, Paulie was supposed to go see him. He was bummed.
Yep.
Bummed. Yeah, so I'm gonna be listening next time we're outside getting fall season. Little fire going and some weed and listen to Mac Miller. That's
Sounds
what I'm
perfect.
doing.
Let's do that.
Sounds perfect to me too. Mrs Weedman,
Mr. Weedman,
you got anything else to say?
I'm just really high. Feel good. Had a good show. Yep, that's it.
That's it? I love it. Everybody out there in the world, we love you all, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the DMs, and thanks for participating on your Show Your Grow Friday and sending me pictures of your grow. I love it, and I'll always post them if you show me. Thanks for some of the questions you've been sending us. Hopefully you like the new show that we're doing, the Grow Hour with Big Earl. Our second episode will be coming out soon, too. That was a big one. We talked a lot on that show, so... but you know what? Things are growing, man. We appreciate y'all out there just sending us love and kindness and happiness and good vibes. And, you know, I mean, Mrs. Weedman, I love you.
Love you.
Everyone out there, world, we love you back. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.